Hi there! I just want to quickly say at the beginning that just because Luigi from the Mario Brothers series is in the thumbnail and also in this video, that does not equal that this all will be for children under the age of 13. Trust me, there's a lot of impalement in this video. Like, a lot. I wish there were a bit more. Anyways, let's begin. I would say that the year 2019 was a good one for gaming, definitely for me. So because we are reaching the conclusion of this year, I decided to make the typical YouTube video of the personal favorite games that came out. Keep something in mind, I didn't get to play that many of them during 2019, been really busy with some stuff. At least I got some things to talk about. Let's just jump straight into it. The original Luigi's Mansion is probably my favorite game of the GameCube. It was extremely short, didn't really have any incentive in replaying it once finished, and the gameplay was truly simplistic, yet even with all of that, it held an atmosphere in the house and the music that I will say remains almost unmatched when it comes to all Mario and Luigi games that has ever been. Dark Moon, the sequel, came out on the 3DS. I think it was a great handheld game, but they took out a lot of what I really appreciated in the first one. Music took on a bit more orchestral beat. Just take a listen to these themes from the two different games. The art style changed drastically, going from the realistic household to a more cartoony one. They went with a mission-based system, which I can understand considering the console, and finally, what felt like the biggest fall, the removal of portrait ghosts. Again, I think that the sequel is a great game on the 3DS and on its own, but it wasn't what I wanted in a follow-up. So when Nintendo revealed that the third game in the franchise was on its way, I was both excited and nervous. Would they learn from the fan feedback? And the answer to that was yes. No longer is it mission-based, there's only one location, a hotel known as the Last Resort, and the portrait ghosts have returned. And the game is really good. Story is simple, Luigi and friends have been invited to stay at the hotel by its owner, Helen Gravely, and once they get there, after a fantastically cute cutscene,
Night-night. Night-night.
chaos ensues. With the return of our boy, King Boo. So, having lost his friends to the tyrant, the Green Brother will do everything in his power, with the help of the Polterpup and Egad, in saving the day once again. Pretty easy to follow, and the gameplay reflects this, having added a lot more moves to his vacuum cleaner, instead of only knowing how to blow and suck. Now the plumber can jump, turn into Luigi, which creates some creative puzzle solving and more. What stands out the most are the animations, the variety of what the ghosts can do during combat, and the vast amount of environments that you traverse. I absolutely enjoyed my time with this game, and it is far lengthier than the two previous ones in the franchise, but I still have some nitpicks with it. 1. The slam ability you learn at the beginning of the game is overpowered. It makes almost every combat encounter a cakewalk. 2. Every floor has a different theme, whether it be Egyptian, a film set, or a pirate lagoon, and so much more. This made it feel like you weren't really in a hotel or one location, and more just a hub with stages, like Banjo-Kazooie or something. 3. The music is still forgettable. There are some new gems in here, but overall it's the same like the 3DS. These nitpicks does not ruin the game in any way for me though. This is a polished experience made with a lot of love. What more can one ask for? Let me just say that I've been a Fire Emblem fan since the Game Boy Advance days, and I never thought I'd play a new game in this series that could overthrow my love of the Blazing Blade. But here we are with Fire Emblem Three Houses. To say that I was obsessed with this game when it was first released is an understatement. Pulling up one-nighter to complete my first house route, Black Eagle's best group by the way, but that does not mean that there's only a small portion of the casts that are just best boys and best girls. This entire cast is amazing! Having played through every scenario, I can say with full certainty that there's not a single individual that I dislike. They are all different in some shape or form. I did not enjoy Fates, the game that came after Awakening, because the characters just felt like mirrors of one another. The older sister, the little sister, the stern brother, etc. But here you may have, well, for example, the three characters working as the Lord's bodyguards. These are all completely different in both what they mean to the main characters and the functions in the narrative. I adore the freedom the developers give you when you free roam the monastery, choosing if you want to teach your class with extra lessons, spend time with certain individuals, fishing or drinking tea. The presentation of this game is nothing to scoff at either. Personally, this soundtrack is my favorite out of all that have come out this year. That includes Devil May Cry 5, Kingdom Kingdom Hearts 3 and Yooka-Laylee The Impossible Lair. The story is really interesting with a few glaring flaws, the gameplay is pretty much the same as before with a few added ingredients to the mix, and the side activities are more explored. It is not perfect, many of the different choices you get in dialogue means nothing aside from gaining or losing affinity with some of the characters. I do not enjoy the main playable character's design or any of the costumes they get, and it does feel like they are rushing the narrative a bit when you get to a specific point in the story. Not gonna spoil anything. Overall, this is probably my game of the year right here. The only Resident Evil I have played before working on my Leon video was the 5th one, where many of the original fans would say it was the fall of the original series, going from horror to plain action. I guess seeing zombies with machine guns kinda took away from the scare factor, but I did enjoy the adventure of the Rock Puncher. So, when I did start on the project of the young police officer, I truly understood the people's love for the character, but also the roots of RE. Then I got my hands on Resident Evil 2 Remake, and damn, this is a great game. Probably the greatest remake I've ever played. I won't go too much into the narrative. If you want to know my thoughts on that, then I guess you can just watch my In the Mind of Leon. I really enjoyed it, absolutely fell in love with the cast. Gameplay, however, is the key to why this game is so good. Slow-paced, calculating, and pressure-inducing. Having to constantly be aware on how much inventory space you have left makes this game so good. Do you take the extra ammo but in turn lose a key that you might have to come back to later? See an herb lying around but you can't drop anything? Better remember where it is. And the layout is so well designed. The entire police station is a joy sneaking and running through. At the start I felt lost and I made the worst decisions you could make when running away from the zombies, trapping myself or running into something even more dangerous. And Mr. X was such a fun mechanic to fight against. Having this big boy roaming the area looking for you. I know many people disliked him as he is when it's all said and done, just a wall to stop you in your progress, but for me, I adored having him stomp all over the place. My enjoyment of the game did vanish a tiny bit once you leave the station. I didn't start disliking it, but I felt like the first 2/3 of the game was fantastic, and the last third was just good. Having the Claire scenario as well, you know, just gives a big thumbs up for me. A lot of replayability. So yeah, Darksiders Genesis is pretty fun. So far, I have only played about 7 hours of it, and I still haven't completed it. Also, I haven't really recorded gameplay, so all you have to see here are some stream footage I had lying around. I absolutely adore the Darksiders franchise, and after the 3rd game that left a horrible taste in my mouth, I was worried for the future of the series. But having played this for some time, I can say that this is something I can get behind. Only play this with a friend, so maybe not as strong if you go through it solo, but as this is, and I think most would agree, a multiplayer-focused game, I would say that my experience was just amazing. War is back with his brother Strife, first time playing as this gun-tooting horseman, and he is so much fun, both gameplay-wise and in the writing. So as I haven't finished it yet, I'll keep this short. Fun gameplay, the best soundtrack in the entire series, and that is saying something. All the stages and bosses have been great so far, the new characters will get a thumbs up from me again, and don't get me started on this! And finally, the look of the game is also top-notch. Some negative needs to be said, there's a lot of bugs and glitches. A lot. None of them are game-breaking, but some were really annoying. Getting trapped on the terrain, having areas blocked off for only one player when playing co-op, and more. This will hopefully be fixed with patches though. I've already made a review on this game, but let me make this as clear as possible. While Devil May Cry 5 may not be my personal favorite game of the year, it is objectively one of the best video games ever created. Maybe that's a bit of an over-exaggeration, but I genuinely believe so. The gameplay here is so vastly superior to any other action game out there. It's almost ridiculous. The amount of options these games give you is staggering. Gameplay mechanics, presentation through graphic and music, and the narrative are all on the upper scale. The voice acting is really good. Every playable character feels so different and awesome at the same time. My biggest issue with the game is that it can be a bit bland in the colors department, getting a bit desaturated here and there, but aside from that, this is a good looking game. There are some more criticism I have, but you know, watch my review, whatever. So I will keep it at that. Something else regarding Devil May Cry is on the horizon on my channel soon, and I want that to be the biggest glorification of this series ever that I can create. So I don't want to kiss this series' ass any more than I have to. This is an amazing video game, and I feel like that if you enjoy action-oriented experiences, this is a must-buy. And those are my favorite games of 2019. There are some others that almost made the list that I would say favorite, but it's kind of difficult to put them up there. Like, I think I mentioned it all earlier. Yooka-Laylee and The Impossible Lair was a lot of fun. MK11, it had a really rocky start, but I enjoyed it overall. So, you know, there are some good ones out there. But what about you? Do you have any that sticks out close to your heart? Give me your list, write it down below, and I'll jump onto my next video. And very important one at that. So until then, I'm KingJ.Grim, or the dude that makes too many promises, whatever you prefer, and I'll see you guys next time.